Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa. Hello, world. Who missed us? Well, I actually miss you guys a lot. And welcome to the Midday Show live on Echo Television Africa, where we take a trip to various parts of the country, maybe to a nation, local government. You can never tell where we'll actually be going today. And I am Stella Elisha Dashom, and I have somebody beautiful, great. Let me just hold the hype like this. Madeline Azar.
Great, come.
Sweetheart, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How
have you been?
I've been okay.
Happy to have you here.
Happy to be here too.
Okay. Well, let's dive straight to the country we'll be going today. Actually, the country we'll be visiting today is a smiling coast of Africa. I'm an African. Nothing gives me more pleasure than to actually talk about one of the African countries. And we'll be looking at one of the smiling coasts of Africa. And guess what's the country? The Gambia. Yes, I think it happens to be, there are just two countries that are called the Bahamas and the Gambia. People can just call it Gambia, but it's called the Gambia. That's how we call the country.
It's cool then. So that's why we are here, definitely, to school them, tell them what is happening, daily life in Gambia, what they do, and how they live their lives in a daily, routine. And the Gambia is actually a beautiful country where you see people living their lives like usual. You see the women busy, the men are busy, the streets are busy, the children are also busy and all, and that is what we are going to give them. But before we go, we are actually live on Facebook. You can leave your comments as we read it on the show, and then yes, this is your welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much, Madeline, for that beautiful, actually saying the fact that we really need, just like with the midday activity, so we need to look at so many things that they do in the country. And just like I said, it's called the Gambia, and the population is over 2 point something billion. They're over, almost getting to 3 million as of March 2022. I think they're just about 2.5 million plus. That's of March statistics. So I'm sure by now more people are being born. So we should tell that
it's a small country, actually.
More people are coming up. And there's one beautiful thing I love about that country is the flag, the color of that flag. It has, every flag has something that it stands for, the symbol. It has red, it has blue, it has green. And red on the flag said it stands for the sun, looking at where it is situated on the equatorial Guinea. And also when you look at green, definitely to tell you about vegetation. It's beautiful. And then blue stands for the Gambia River. That's one beautiful thing about the beauty of Africa. Anywhere we go, we have something that we stand for. And even though when you look at it, the country predominantly is made up of Muslims. There are about 90% plus of Muslims. So that is to show that we still have more to do when it comes to evangelism. And that's why we have the midday show here. We need to take the gospel to Gambia,
Definitely. And then, but thank God for ECWA, and then thank God for what the missionaries too are doing. My in-law is actually in Gambia as a missionary, so you should know that, the missionaries are trying, going there, preach the word to those people so that they can give their lives to Christ. And I can, Gambia is a place where, as usual, you would see people giving their lives to Christ because they are being preached to. And you can see sometimes in their daily activity, especially for the missionaries, you will see them gathering children, gathering people, doing some, charity activities there, so that these people can feel loved. You can't preach to someone without, showing the person love and then care. It's not only to show the love, but to also show care. If you care about somebody, you would definitely have to act it so that the person will know that, okay, this person actually wants the best out of me. And they'll accept you even before you start telling them about Christ. And it will just be easy for you to preach to them after they have really, accepted whatever you have, because you are showing it and they are seeing it. They'll be like, who is this people's God? I want to know, or I want to know him. It is a normal thing. Even generally, when you meet somebody and then show a kind of, kindness, act of kindness to the person will want to know who you are, not to even talk of who your God is. You understand? So it is good to show kindness to people so that at least you can preach to them and they will listen to you.
Excuse me, very true. That's why the Gambia is known to be the smiling coast of Africa, because they have this welcoming spirit. They have this very warm heart toward visitors. The moment you find yourself in Gambia, they are welcoming, regardless of their religion, they have an open arm. And I think that is what even make it even more accessible for you to come and get access to them and also preach the gospel to them. So I think it's really something that we really have to applaud Gambia and also ECWA for, you know, me taking the initiative. Just like we say, I'm going to take over the whole of Gambia for the Lord. That is the main aim, you know. Yes, and they're still looking at it. I said they're about 90% of Muslims, just 3% are Christians, and we have just less than 1% that actually practice their African traditions there. And the government, the system of government, there's a multi-party democratic republic. So that means it's not just one party they have a multi. I know one beautiful thing when I was reading about it was their system of the way they actually cast their votes. They actually use stones to cast their vote. I mean, that actually swept my mind the way I was like, and they said they stopped that just in 2016. That's when they stopped using stones or parents to actually cast stones. So you can actually tell that I think when it comes to development, Gambia is still, you know, trying to catch
it's
up.
a little bit way back, but still, yet it is fascinating, like seeing people casting stones, like to vote. But then we are talking about technology now. We are in a technological world where you see everything growing. You can't be, you know, in the past and then still want to succeed. So if you want to succeed as a person or if you want to succeed as a country, you have to, you know, adapt to the new generation and what they are doing for you to succeed. And then another thing about Gambia is their economy, which is predominantly on agriculture. Like 75% of these people are involved in agricultural activities, which is farming, you know, and also livestock. You would definitely see them early mornings. You see the men going to the farm, women staying back, cooking, and then taking it to the men. But then you would see in some families, you see the women being left behind in their homes, you know, to take care of the home, take care of the children when they get back to school, and then maybe cook for the children or cook for the family. And then that's their own main duty. And then some women you see after staying back, cleaning, cooking, they still take what they have cooked to their husbands in the farm. And still yet, you will see some of these women again in some other families. You will see them, you know, going to the farm or going to the rivers because they also have, you know, fish and all those things. So, you know, as a daily routine, you will definitely see these women doing different types of jobs and then the men too doing different types of jobs. Talking about livestock, you will definitely see their young ones, you know, having to take their cattle or their whatever they are rearing in the house, you know, take them out, you know, and then bring them back again in the evening. But the thing I really don't really like is the lack of water. Especially, and the lack of water is not just in the rural area. The lack of water also is in the urban areas where, you know, normally the urban areas are not supposed to be having this kind of difficulty, but you definitely see it there. And you see young children going to far distance, you know, just because they want to go and get water and drink. They will get tired, and then so many things. And there are dangers also, because some of them will have to go to the stream far away from their homes at a young age, and before they will get home. Sometimes it's even late at night or late in the evening before they get home. So what really happens on the road, you wouldn't know as a mother, because the mother can be out to, you know, hustling, and then the father too is also out hustling. So it is a busy place for these people, and then that's how they live their lives.
Yeah, well, it's actually, you know, when you actually look at the countries that it's been, they've been surrounded with both Senegal and even other countries, because it's a West African country actually. So you could tell that the country is surrounded by actually has a way of influencing their economy, so to say. Because if you look at it, they don't have any natural resources definitely to fall back on. So I think this would be an assignment for the government to look, since they depend.
I think that's why you said what you like about the country is their flag, and I'm like, what else do you like?
I love other things about the country. There are lots of things, because there are other, especially when we go to some of the tourist areas in that place, you know, that they have so many. I love the fact that they hold dearly to their traditions. When we get there, like,
it's an African country.
Yes,
you know, Africans, we really love our traditions.
So when you look at the fact that, so I think it's the government is based left for the government now to see how can they pump into more into the agriculture. Yes, we know they are still developing, but I mean, just like every other country, it started developing little by little before it become that developed country it is. So I think Gambia still have what it takes, because if you look at there are about over 600 species of birds there. They can key into that area too. So I think it's another area, the tourists, when they come to there, it's another way of, getting money from that place. So I think it's something for them to actually look into in their economy. And that will actually take me to their agriculture, where we're still looking at it. The fact that it's the most important sector in Gambia. Just like we said, their livestock and their agriculture is very dear to them, since they don't have any natural resources to fall back on. And the fact that they said that it's account for approximately their GDP is just about 75% of labor. Definitely depend on the human capacity for them to actually farm. And that's where we brought in the fact that they use some of their cattle, the bulls, to help them farm the land, make ridges for them to be able to plant. And the fact that also they said they have lots of cereals, rice, and they have tons of granules and peanuts. So I think if you actually look into that, you can make it cash crops and actually get more money from there. And the fact that it's the smallest country in the mainland Africa, it's not a very big country from the population. I mean, compared to our population here in Nigeria, we are over 200 million plus, and they are just 2.5 million. So you can actually tell that there is still a very small country, and they can still do more when it comes to human capital to see that they boost the country, attract more tourists to come into the country, because people, especially when it's dry season, people do go there to see the beautiful rivers they have there, some of the very historical graveyards that they made that stand out in every other African country. It's very beautiful. You begin to wonder whether it was a moment when they wanted to make for their ancestors, but they just have a way of preserving certain things about them. And I think it's a good way to have something to keep for the coming generation, to see something that they can fall back on. So I think I love that about them.
I think you like everything about them.
I love them. Africa.
Talking about the Gambia, these people are very courteous. Like especially to visitors, when you're in the Gambia, and they know that you're a new person, they try to let you in on their traditions and then their culture, what they respect and what they like and what they dislike. And then most times you see people can just be invited to some homes like that, A family can just say, okay, Sele, you are a visitor here, and then because we are a lovable people, we love people, and then we want you to, come to our family and dine with us. And as a person that is going to Gambia, you have to know that if you are being invited to someone's home, you have to have a gift with you. And then the gift can be like a bag of rice. When I said like a bag of rice, I was like, wow. Then no wonder they like inviting people to their homes. But then, they farm rice and then it's nothing to them. So it is a normal thing. Or you can bring like some bars of soap for them for the laundry and all that. And when you get there, you shouldn't be afraid, or you shouldn't be so surprised when you see people eating in a big bowl, like a whole family eating in a big bowl, and then they invite you to come join them. Even though, just the way we were talking about technology, everything now is growing fast, and then they are now more modernized and all. So when they see that, okay, a new person is amongst them, they try to give you your own separate plate, because not everybody really likes eating together like that with people, and that is their own culture. So they can't really force you into it. So sometimes they just give you your own different bowl of whatever they're eating. And then talking about the rice, and then you mentioned peanuts too, because these people really love farming all these things. That is like an option for them when it comes to lunch or dinner, especially dinner in their homes, where you see them cooking rice and vegetable soup, or rice and then peanut stew with a lot of meat inside, because they also have livestock. And that is how they welcome people there. And I think it's actually fun. And I know someone that really love, going there, because the person really likes eating rice and vegetable soup. And if the person is watching me now, the person will definitely know that I am talking about that
he or
person.
she.
He or she, definitely.
So the person should actually, get the next available visa or ticket and then go. Since it's just here, you need your ECOWAS green card. That's all you need, and then bam.
But when
you
they are
can
there,
get-
you should be careful. One of those things again. In every country, you will definitely find crime. And then when we were talking earlier, I can remember when you mentioned, some of these people, when you go to a hotel, you can go to a hotel and lodge into a hotel and keep your things. If you keep them carelessly, someone can take it and ask you for a ransom for it, So it's just, sometimes people are really suffering and then they just feel like, okay, this is an option for me. I can just do this to get whatever I want. But it is not an option. It is not supposed to be an option for anybody. Crime is not supposed to be an option. And then they are even also advising travelers because of the bad roads. During raining season, the roads are muddy. And then during dry season, the roads are dusty. So it is more like there is no better time, And then there are some places that have so much gallops to the extent that, travelers have to be careful, especially when you're going there. You have to know where you're going and then what time you're going there, because you can be attacked. Your car can get spoiled in a particular place, and before you know it, people will just come collect your things from you and you just be stranded on the road. So you have to be, as a traveler or somebody that is going to the Gambia, you have to be very, very cautious of all those things.
Of course, any country you find yourself, it's important that actually watch out for your security. And looking at the fact that when you're looking at tourists, that's what will take us to the tourism. When you look at tourism there in Gambia, and I mentioned earlier on the fact that the best time if you really want to enjoy a pleasant time in Gambia is when it's dry season, because you tend to appreciate, especially, I won't forget to talk about those species of birds. They have great, I think, over 600 species of birds. So you see various birds of different kinds, and people like me that love nature a lot, when you hear those birds making those beautiful, music, it's really something for it. Cute, beautiful birds. So I think it's really something, and just like I said, it's something that also the government should also look into that sector, how they can boost their tourism when it comes to making sure that everything is up and started. I know while I was reading, I discovered there was this celebrity chimpanzee that ever existed. She was called Lucy. I think, they've made a documentary about that chimpanzee, and it was actually happened that it was from Gambia. So you could tell that something great, looking at tourism, someone discovered that she could actually train this chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee behaves like human. You could actually leave her with your baby. She will help you give the baby milk, because these animals are quite sharp and smart. So you could actually tell that Gambia actually has a history of actually ever having a celebrity chimpanzee named Lucy that actually, so I think it's one of the midday activity when you just find yourself there, because there are lots and lots of national parks. Crocodiles are beautiful, because I think when we go there, we discover that there's this, they call it the traditional pole, where if you're sick, according to their belief, if you're sick or whatever, you could just go there. The crocodile doesn't do anything to you.
Wow.
And then you can actually go there. And, this is just part of beautiful tourism. I mean, tourist sites that you can actually, watch out for. So I think it's something beautiful, since the Gambians actually, just like I told you, they love, because when I was reading it, like, they love so much the fact that, yes, they have quite high number of Muslims, but they so much believe in their traditions. They hold onto it dearly, like they don't want to let go of it. So when you go there, you even find some very beautiful handcrafted things that will make you, so maybe when you find yourself as a tourist there, you can actually buy it, bring it home, have something like a souvenir that to show that actually I made a trip to Gambia at one point or the other.
Of course. And then that, the handcraft is somebody's daily activity. Sometimes you will see the women making it from home, without having any other thing doing. That is what they do as business, as their daily thing. They will be making it from home and then taking it to the market to go and sell. And then you will see sometimes in the marketplaces, you would see like it is so crowded. Their markets are so crowded that you will see people selling, people buying, and you will see the women selling vegetables. You will see the women doing a lot of things. And then sometimes, because of how crowded the marketplace are, you know, you definitely see, you know, pickpockets, those people who just, that's their work also, their daily work. Like somebody will just wake up and say, okay, I don't want to be useful in this life. I just want to start picking pockets. And then that is what, but you know, it is mostly because when you talk about, let me go back to a little bit about their education now. The educational system is actually poor to the extent that so many of these young people don't go to school. They don't have education. They don't have the knowledge about how to make money in a decent way. They just wake up and then see how people are hustling, and then they don't have anything to do. The next thing they will start saying, okay, and you know, they're idle, so definitely their minds will work. It is either negative or positive. So in this case, it definitely has to work negatively because they don't have anything positively, you know, going on in there. So they will just think, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Just go to the market, harass somebody, get whatever I need to get to survive. And most of them, if you meet them or after they catch them, after they are being caught, you see sometimes they will say, it's because, please forgive me, it's because I don't really have anything to do. Does that make you a bad person because you don't have anything to do? Why didn't you, in the first place, you know, meet somebody and say, please, I need something to do? It is more honorable, you know, it is more dignified, you know, for somebody to say, okay, I don't have anything to do, please help me, than until when you are being caught stealing or doing something bad before you start saying, okay, please forgive me, it's because I don't have anything to do. So crime also, it is because of their lack of education that has caused that. And mostly the lack of education is because the country is poor. The school environment is also poor. It is not encouraging. You know, some of these children, actually, when you talk about the rural areas, they wake up in the morning, they don't have what to eat. Some of them will have to trek a long distance for them to go and, you know, acquire education. And then that's when you talk about the male ones, because the females don't even have that so much right, you know, to go to school, because they need to be at home, take care of the home, or take care of the daily activities in the house, or at least just be knowledgeable in the home, because you will definitely get married as a woman, so you have to know how to take care of your husband's place. And it's really annoying to know that women are being, you know, brought down like that, because, you know, you just have to take care of your husband. What about, do you know you can go to school and then acquire knowledge and know how to take care of your home better than, you know, just being a housewife? Just, okay, I know how to take bathing water to my husband, cook for him, take care of my children, and that is it. Then what is your own joy as a person?
You know, one thing I think, Magdalene, about issues like this, that just like you spoke about the fact that the world is becoming a very global market, and so it's a need to encourage the girl child education, because like you were looking at the educational fact, the fact that most of the female child do not go to school because of either the distance, or they have to stay back to take care of certain domestic house chores or things like that. So it's being seen like mostly that the boys go to school, because as a lady, why should I train you? At the end of the day, you get married and stay back at home. But like you've rightly highlighted, education is very important. We cannot overemphasize the importance of education, which is one of the activities you actually find people doing. If they are not in their farms, if they are not actually into livestock, definitely they should be schooling. And so I think this is where we need to encourage the fact that each and every parent should push his child to school, because it's important. You know, there's a saying that say that when you educate a girl child, you educate the world. So I think it's something we need to encourage, the fact that a girl child needs to attend school. She needs the formal education, because I think the Gambia government made sure that they make the primary and secondary school compulsory. It's compulsory, you must attend that. And there's tertiary institution, if your parents can afford it, fine, you should go.
But to be honest, you know, most times they just say it is compulsory, but it's not like they will go to your home and beat you if you don't come out to go.
Sometimes it's a free education.
It's because it's just a free education to, you know, encourage them to say, okay, go and go to school. But most of these people in poverty, why they don't go to school, sometimes for them to take care of their homes. And then sometimes it's because they need to go to their farms own duties. And then because of the lack of water, the lack of rain there, anytime they see rain, it's more like, oh my God, this thing is happening.
Just like, even though you've mentioned basically some of their tradition and culture, the fact. Another beautiful thing is still their various delicacies, their meals. There are various types, just like not granules. So maybe that will not be one of the delicacies I want to try because I never love it. But I think in a religion, you have the Gambians have a way of tolerate. They have tolerance within them. If your religion, first and foremost, we are human beings before we actually have what we stand for religiously. But then it's a way of saying how can you curtail it to make sure that the country grows, because at this point in time, Gambia are most of the countries in the world. So you can actually tell that Gambia also had its fair share of that, but they are still trying our country to also be great. The fact that it's in West Africa, yes. I mean, Nigeria here happens to be the giant of Africa. Other people that have different side of faith, and in the same way, you're drawing them because you're tolerant about them. So you draw them, and then
back to Christ or bringing. Or let's talk about the growth now. So many, apart from the missionaries who are there, which you will see on a daily basis, helping out with some of the basic needs of these people. Because of the poor nature of these people, sometimes you will see somebody that is in the village or in the rural area also don't really have resources or don't have what it takes for them to farm. Help them boost whatever they are trying to do so that they will have a larger market or a larger production, so that at the end of the day they will start producing, and then more bicycles than like cars. Sometimes, like almost all you just be seeing people on the bikes, on the bicycle. You mentioned that I have a bicycle, and I said, don't you have a car? He said, well, in this place most of the people have bicycles. They don't really care about cars like that. So you just see a bike like them also, which is actually cheaper, actually, getting a bicycle than getting a car. I would rather get a car than get a bicycle, because...
Well, you never can blame them. If you look at... yes, they have their cars, but you see more bikes than cars. Why? Because there are certain sharp bends you need to keep going. So that is the best, easiest way. Well, if less to even, worry about the fact that your culture, your tradition is being maintained at the end of the day. I mean, people like our culture is through storytelling. We all have encounters with our grandparents. They'll start giving you history about things that have happened. It's true story to them in Gambia. It's a way of their tradition. It's a way of preserving their tradition and culture. It's omnipresent. You see very colorful dress. Madeleine, I tell one of those activities because
I love colors.
You love colors. So I think you admire that. Drop your comments. We'll be delighted and happy to read it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this time out. Drop your comments and we'll make sure we read it. I'm Stella Elisha and Madeleine Azar. I should get you a green ticket that since you love colors.
Just take us to places we need.
Let's look at some of the places you can visit in Gambia. Since we said it's a lovely place, and even though they are still developed, where you see the crocodile, so I think it should be one of the places. And they said Gambia to take you back to then when we're going through slave trade. I think it was another thing again about Gambia. If you're a bird lover, just like I am, it's unlike she's on a single river. So people that love birds like I do, you love their colors, you love a reserve, which is the Abuku Nature Reserve. That was created in the 20th century to protect the water, collect things with history. That is very important that we preserve it. When you're telling your kids or your grandkids about
stories, they will start telling your people, your friends, how they give birth to you and all those things. So it's
to develop that habit of reading. So it's better to tell you verbally through storytelling.
And the story keeps changing.
It keeps changing because at the point in time, some of our parents actually add a little lies. All the truth is still there. We are trying to maintain your, so that we don't do away with the important things about where we are coming from. Because land at the end of the day. So it's something to actually preserve. So if you find yourself in Gambia, I think the Abuku Nature Reserve is a place. It has a conservation, and we have about 33,000 visitors each year that visit there. Why that is quite typical forest to Europe. So if you're trying to see where it's closer to Europe, then you know that the Abuku Nature Reserve in Gambia to visit that nature.
Of course, and then we go to the Banjul, that's the capital city. The rural areas are lacking. At least you will see an upgrade there. So anything that happens, develop things you would see that will come to a country, definitely has to start with the capital city. And people being very busy, they have crowded markets, women selling. When you go to their marketplaces, there are people who sell music also, and then you just hear them play in the market and play it and remember when I was in Gambia, and then this is the kind of songs they love listening there. And they'll be like, okay, my wife, I went to the Gambia, and then this is what I'm bringing to you. And so many things, actually, so places that are lacking some vital things also, like the schools we are talking about. In some places, don't really have, or maybe the school don't really have good infrastructure too. When you talk about schools and these, some of them even have to go sometimes back to the village, to do some farm. You see some people, some countries that are still developing, they are still trying, they are still facing those kind of, but then when you talk about good life, when you talk about tourism, good fine birds, you just see like, the difference is just clear when you go to the rural parts and what is happening there. And then when you go back to some of them, sometimes people are selfish, people are greedy. Sometimes before you get into power, you'll be like, oh, I will boost it, I will do this, I will do that, I will even make the rain to fall more and all. And then when your time comes, you do nothing at all. That somebody has stayed a whole day without eating something, but you are there like eating the whole square meals in a day. It is really actually bad.
The urban areas, maybe because most people move from the rural areas to the urban areas, and then after developing, they forget to give back to the society that actually gave us. But they should, just like the fact that I say, even when you go to the capital city, we definitely make people hawking, because people need to make the daily living at the end of the day. Want to see some of those things that happen, because just like any other country, they also had colonial. Above all things, with all this stress, one thing you will never miss in Gambian president is the fact that they always excited and happy. I think it's a positive spirit, having a positive attitude towards life. That's something that I admire about people of that place. And I think another place I would like us to look at is their old town. They said this one looks more like the Freetown. You walk through this wonderful section of the city, and when you find yourself around here, I think you can actually have maybe just your book pad, your pen, take down some notes about live around there that are not there any longer. So when you go to some parts, especially like where I serve, I remember some of the buildings there, you see that there are some very old structures. They'll tell you that's repainting, nothing. The way they were, they are still the same way there. And I think maybe it's just for history.
But what the chat thing out of it, but you can still maintain, keep it, try to maintain it by, always make you understand. If you leave it there dead, it will get to a generation where this thing is not going to be there, because it will just be there, and then it will not have. When the government sees that, okay, this thing has been there, and then it is attracting people's minds, they should just do something about it. They can still maintain the old name without helping any relevance to it. So I think the government, apart from, trying to develop, at least they will not just fade away like that. People will still have something they will go back to. And then they have the Albert Mark. Mostly, when you go there, you will find shoes made with handcraft shoe, carved wood mask, houseware. You see things there's a particular thing you see there. It's not like, okay, a market that you just go and see and get vegetable, or a market you go and get fruits. No, this market has to do with, it has specific thing that you see there. It is not everything that you go and see. And then there are markets too, when you go, you will see just fish, and then people selling fish in that place. So I think that is what I really like.
Well, finally, you like something in Gambia, finally.
Well, because you know, most times, whatever you're looking for, you will get. At least that's a good thing.
And you know, they are loving people, because if you open up to them and you want to learn something, they are quick to because they know that you are a visitor, and they will really want you to have a very good impression about them when you leave the country. So it's really something I love about them. I know other activities you can actually do there. You can relax on sport trades and culture. You can embrace the Gambia, fantastic bird watching. I said they have so many species of birds, so you can actually do that. You can even stay.
Harsh sun, you mean?
Maybe it's harsh, but they love the sun because it's really stand out for them. Excuse me. It stand out.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But most of these countries who lack water, their sun actually is not so friendly to the...
So after thinking of the river, it's one of those very outstanding rivers we have in Africa. So you can actually go to the Gambia River and just soak up the nature of there, look at little of the delicacy, because our time is, fast running. And I think I saw one, which is also, we have it here, which is akara. It's grounded with flour and deep fried. And I think we also have it here, even though ours mostly is from
just beans.
Even though it's not called.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I think I love that too, especially when it's being used with palm oil. So I think they also food. So as a tourist, when you find yourself there, just try to patronize the street food around, and then just.
So there's this one, Afra. They said it's a very popular late night snack. Typically, you select your then served with mustard or a spicy sauce. I think I would like this one.
Because there's lots of it's quality, and since it's late night for people that are not these people that love eating late at night, I think it's something like possible. Like I said, in as much as you want to try everything, you also have to watch out for the hygiene, so you don't end up coming back with food poisoning.
But trust me, it's going to be.
Maybe the leather, the bag, whatever is being used to wrap, we can actually look at that too. And I think another meal here is the okra in it too. So for people that actually love seafood, you actually love this okra stew. Even though I'm not so much a fan of the seafood, but I think it's something that is very healthy, and I enjoy it, Madali. So maybe I'll prescribe that for you.
Well, maybe I'll think about it. But if you're thinking of going to the Gambia, actually, from... it's compulsory when you want to greet somebody in the Gambia. But you should also know that fun way of greeting people, and they don't really have a problem with that. You can greet anybody shaking that person, but it has to be with your right hand to be sober to, as you're greeting them. So I think from me, it's
a good etiquette. I love that etiquette too. And they frown against you using people they frown when you use your left hand to receive a gift or to shake hands.
We are Africans.
We are after the etiquette that's involved in their eating. As an honored guest, you may sometimes be given your own bowl or plate of food to eat, depending on the circumstances. While in Gambia, you will see some of the above rules being broken, but the washing and the right hand rule must be adhered. You don't just sit alone and consume everything.
And then who eats without washing hands?
There are people that do. Maybe you could just that, Madali.
Actually, sometimes people, the bad character sometimes just surface.
And it's something you need to develop a very hand. For those that would like to visit Gambia, listen attentively. Use your right hand when you be out alone. Don't be using money anyhow. Don't wear very expensive jewelries. They're attracting thieves and bandits.
And they have
definitely, because the way the person will be behaving is actually, a way that is not conforming with the pattern of the country. Well, this is how far we can go on the show, the Midday Show live on Equator. So much coming. Until we come your way again next week, to have a blessed day ahead.